So a couple weeks ago, I picked up the iPad mini 7, and I'm not shortcutting it here, but it's been my most used device between my iPhone, my M4 iPad, my M2 MacBook Air, and this iPad mini 7, I just keep gravitating towards it, and I'm absolutely in love with it. Something about the form factor is what really is kind of bringing me back, and I have a whole video review on the iPad mini 7, but I do want to bring up a bunch of accessories that I've been picking up over the last couple days that have really helped kind of enhance my iPad mini experience, from dongles to keyboards to Apple Pencil alternatives and everything in between. So I will be talking about some budget accessories, some more premium accessories. I will leave everything linked down below, and I should have the price point on the screen for each accessory that I talk about as we move forward. So without further ado, let's talk about iPad mini 7, and most of these will work with the iPad mini 6 as well, but I will let you know if that's not the case. Let's get into it. So I do want to briefly touch on the iPad mini 7 itself and the price point that you can get it at, because from Apple it is $499 for the base model, but that does come with 128 gigs of internal storage built in, and then you can upgrade it from there. But if you go on Amazon right now and you want to save, let's say $15, you can get a brand new iPad mini 7 for $485, and then if you don't really care about Apple Pencil Pro support, as well as having the A17 Pro with Apple Intelligence, then you can get still a brand new iPad mini 6, which is the identical form factor, which is I think the best selling point of this iPad. You can get it for $350 directly from Amazon. Now, given that is a 64 gig model, but if you only want to spend $350 as opposed to $500, the iPad mini 6 is definitely a great option, and as I mentioned earlier, most of these accessories will work with that iPad as well. And then I do want to continue with what I physically have on the iPad. The first thing that I did with my iPad mini 7 is throw a Paperlike screen protector on there. There definitely are some cheaper alternatives, as well as some different materials that you can use, from clear to anti-glare to actual glass screen protectors, but I just like this one because, again, it gives you that Paperlike feel. I've been using Paperlike screen protectors since around 2018 on all my iPads, so that's the one that I'm going to personally recommend. And then I also got the Apple branded Folio case, which is $60, so it is a little bit steep, and for the most part it does exactly what you're supposed to do. It has strong magnets, it'll cover it up, it's got the smart lock, you can have one viewing angle and prop it up if you want to, in both vertical and horizontal mode, so it does do everything that you would expect it to do, and it has some great fit and finishes. But for $60, even though yes, you are paying for the Apple Premium, and it is a very well made Folio case, you can get the same thing by ESR with this pretty much the same build materials for $15. So that is the one that I actually picked up, and I might return this Apple one just because I can't really justify $60 for the Apple case when the ESR one does pretty much the same exact thing at the same exact color for about a quarter of the price. So now let's talk Apple Pencil in the situation that that's in, because with the iPad mini 7, unfortunately, it does not have Apple Pencil 2 support. If you go with the iPad mini 6, you can still use the Apple Pencil 2, but if you want to use an Apple Pencil with the new mini 7, you have to use either the USB-C Apple Pencil or the new Apple Pencil Pro. Now, I do have an Apple Pencil Pro because I've been using it with my M4 iPad Pro, but if I was only using the iPad mini, I do not think that I would splurge on the $130 Apple Pencil Pro, even though it has some great benefits like the haptic feedback as well as the Find My support. Right now on Amazon, the Apple Pencil USB-C is $69.99, so $70, as opposed to the $80 that it is on Apple's website, and then the Apple Pencil Pro is also $10 discounted on Amazon for $120, but I do want to bring up a budget alternative for you guys, especially for the people that aren't really like precision artists and just use this to kind of sketch and take notes and maybe navigate your screen. The one that I like to use is by a company called Penoval, and this Apple Pencil alternative is $15. It charges via USB-C, and it does have fast charging, so it gives you about 10 hours of use with a 10-minute charge. And what's really nice about this is that it's kind of a stylus more so than an Apple Pencil. So technically, you're not even using Bluetooth to use this thing, it's just using the resistance of the actual screen and then the tip itself to actually write on there. And what's nice about this is that it checks off pretty much 90% of the boxes, like long battery life, being able to attach magnetically. It does not charge magnetically, but it attaches magnetically on both the Mini 6 as well as the Mini 7. Has palm rejection, so you make sure that that's taken into a consideration. It literally checks off all the boxes that I would personally need it to, because I'm not a precision artist and I'm not in here kind of drawing some crazy artwork. I'm here taking notes, drawing some sketches down, and using things like the Magic Wand and other Apple Intelligence things with the Apple Pencil. So for $15 and for a bunch of different colorways that attaches magnetically, this one is an absolute no-brainer for anybody with pretty much any iPad for that matter. And then for me personally, I do like to have a pencil grip on my Apple Pencil, or even the Apple Pencil alternative. I use the one by Paperlike again, so I will leave that one linked down below. It's very well made. It comes in a pair of two, it comes in different colors, it comes in 2 different sizes as well, if you like to have a closer or a little bit of a bigger hold on that Apple Pencil grip. So definitely check that one out if you are looking for something that kind of add a little bit more of kind of a nice feel and ergonomic touch to your Apple Pencil. So now I do want to make a storage recommendation because, like I mentioned, the iPad mini 6 starts at 64 gigs and then the iPad mini 7 starts at 128 gigs. But if you're somebody that kind of likes to edit a bunch of photos on here, somebody that likes to kind of offload a bunch of different footage and film and maybe have a bunch of movies built into it, I do recommend getting yourself an SSD, an external one. I use this new T9 by Samsung, which does everything that you would need it to and then some, and then combined with that USB-C port, which is technically USB 3, meaning that it does support up to 10 gigs of transfer speed, it's more than enough if you do want to get some serious work done on the iPad mini 7, because with the A17 Pro, it is able to fully handle that, whether it is photo editing, even video editing, or even some more leisurely-like activities, like pulling up video content and things like that. So getting yourself an external SSD so you don't have to break the bank with internal storage is a nice little add-on and something that I do recommend for anybody with any iPad. And now to continue on with that dongle and kind of USB-C hub life, I do want to recommend a USB-C dongle. This one is by a company called Hyper, but there's a bunch of different ones by Satechi, there's Amazon ones, there's Anker ones, so I'll leave a couple of those down below. But then also you do have a 3.5mm jack, you have a 3.2 Gen 2 port for USB-A, you have an SD card and a micro SD card slot in there for anybody that likes to offload footage from, let's say, one of your actual physical cameras. Then you have obviously the power pass-through, which supports up to 65 watts, which is more than enough for something like this iPad. And then lastly, you do have an HDMI port out in order to maybe display anything on an external display, or if you want to put it up against your TV, you can do so as well. And I like this one because it attaches directly onto the iPad itself, but it also comes with a longer cable if you do need to hang it off if you have a case that doesn't allow you to have this propped up directly onto the iPad itself. But then if you want to level it up a little bit, I have a USB-C dock that's also built into a stand, and what I like about this is that the cable comes built into it. It's a very compact package. You just basically unfold it, you put it down, you connect your iPad to it, you put your iPad on the stand itself, and then you're greeted with a bunch of new ports that you can now have access to, similar to that USB-C hub that I just mentioned. You still get an HDMI port, you get a USB-A port, you get your power pass-through port, headphone jack, and then micro SD and SD card slot. So it has everything that you would need if you do kind of want to prop this up and have a kind of mini desk setup experience with your iPad mini for you to get a little bit more work done. Let's say if you are writing a long article or an essay and you kind of need to type away and you want to have it there maybe as sort of like a computer. And then I do like to combine this stand with something like the ProtoArc foldable keyboard because, again, this is a nice compact package, so between the iPad, this stand, and then the folding keyboard, you have a nice little setup that's very compact, can be easily put into a bag. And with the ProtoArc keyboard, this is about an 85% keyboard. You do have a full number pad, you do have your directional keys, although the number pad and the actual keyboard are smushed together a little bit. That's why it's not a full-size keyboard when you do take that into consideration. But what I like about it is that you can connect up to 3 different devices. The moment you unfold it, it turns on and auto-connects to whatever device you've already previously connected to. It is a chiclet style keyboard, and even though it is a foldable keyboard made out of plastic, it doesn't feel flimsy whatsoever, and for the price, it's pretty unbeatable as a kind of pocket on-the-go keyboard if you do want to set yourself up in, let's say, a coffee shop and want to type away, because if I do want to type something that's a little bit longer, it does get tedious to type it on the screen itself, similar to how it would get tedious on something like your iPhone. So having a physical keyboard to really get those long typing sessions done is a no-brainer, and that's why I do recommend this ProtoArc one, which I have recommended in the past. And then for any iPad setup, I'd like to recommend that people get an HDMI capture card to USB-C because I like to use my iPad Pro especially as a dummy display for something like my Xbox or anything else where I want to get video out into my iPad itself. So now I'm actually working on a cool kind of mobile Mac Mini desk setup with your iPad mini as your display, and this little dongle, which is a $20 dongle, is one of the most versatile things that you can have in any everyday carry for your iPad because it allows you to turn your iPad into a dummy display and allows you to pretty much HDMI in anything from a Mac Mini to a PlayStation to an Xbox to a Switch to another desktop, and allows you to use any iPad. As long as you have the correct free application that I'll link down below called Orion, you're able to then turn your iPad mini into a beautiful little dummy display. And then when it comes to power, I want to recommend 2 different power banks that I like to use and bring with me at all times, and they're both by Anker, both 30-watt power bricks. One is just a 10,000 milliamp hour one with an Apple Watch charger built into it as well, versus the other one is a 5,000 milliamp hour power bank that does not have that Apple Watch charger, but they each come with their own levels of pros and cons. For instance, the 5,000 milliamp hour one supports up to 30 watts of fast charging, more than enough to charge up your iPad mini at full speed. It does have a built-in USB-C cable, so you don't have to worry about any of that and needing to bring one. It does have an additional USB-C port as a USB-C out. It's got a nice little LED screen to allow you to see how much battery capacity you have left. And what's nice about this one specifically is that it has AC prongs, so you can use this not only as, let's say, a power bank, but you can recharge it via an EC outlet and then also leave it plugged in and use this as a power brick after the fact to then output 30 watts of power. And then the next one is, like I mentioned, a 10,000 milliamp hour battery, also by Anker, that has an LED screen as well, has that same USB-C cable built into it, has a USB-C out to support up to 30 watts, and then also has an Apple Watch charger for those on-the-go needs. This one does not have an AC prong though, so you do need to charge it regularly with a USB-C cable. But still, some of my favorite power banks to bring with me. And then if you just want a power brick to be able to have with you, Nomad's slim 35 watt power brick is one of my favorite ones to bring with me because it's very compact. Again, in the name it says that it's slim, and it's extremely slim, and their cables from Nomad are just second to none. They're super high quality, so I do recommend that if you do want to spend a little bit extra for the extra build materials and the quality. If not, something from Anker or from Pluggable, those 25 to 30 watt power bricks that you can buy on Amazon for about $10 to $15 will definitely do the job. But what's nice about the iPad mini is that it still brings a 20 watt power brick in the box, so they haven't gotten rid of that yet with the iPad mini, although I can kind of see them getting rid of those relatively soon, similar to how they did that with the iPhones. And then for audio, obviously I'm going to personally recommend AirPods Pro Gen 2 because the combination of those getting better over time, the USB-C, wireless charging, Find My support, being able to automatically connect within your Apple ecosystem. I didn't even have to connect my AirPods Pro to the actual iPad itself because I just signed in and it automatically connected to my iPad mini because it knew it was my device and part of my ecosystem. So again, the magic that comes with the AirPods Pro, and now on top of that, it being a hearing aid, is a great thing to have. So having this and pairing it up with your iPad mini is a no-brainer. And again, most of this stuff is a lot cheaper on Amazon. I don't know why that's the case, but if you do want to go through Amazon, those links will be down below. So those are all the accessories that I've been playing with, and I'm still accumulating more as time goes on. Maybe I'll do a part 2 for this because there are just so many awesome accessories for the iPad mini to turn this thing into a full-on computer, to making it just a little bit easier to wield, having thick cases, thin cases, magnetic cases, you know, USB-C dongles, battery hubs, built-in batteries. The list really goes on, and I've even seen people add MagSafe to these iPad minis with MagSafe rings to really kind of build this ultimate situation with your iPad mini. So iPad mini is one of the more versatile computers or iPads out there right now. Will it replace my M4 iPad Pro? Of course not, but it kind of fits this perfect little middle ground between my iPhone and my M4 iPad Pro that I didn't know I wanted or even needed. And definitely check out our most recent video on my iPad mini 7 review to get an idea of how I use this thing and why I think it's probably the best iPad on the market right now. But that'll do it for this video, everybody. Leave a comment down below what you think. Do you have an iPad mini 6 or an iPad mini 7? What are some of your favorite accessories? Are you looking to pick one up this holiday season? Like I mentioned, right now the mini 6 is $350 on Amazon, while the iPad mini 7 is $485 on Amazon. But that'll do it, everybody. If you did make it to the end, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below so I know you made it to the end. And if you want to watch more videos like this one, definitely check out one of these videos right here. YouTube thinks you're gonna like this one here, and I think you're gonna like the one below. Until next time, peace, everybody.